name is Spot. I'm the program coordinator at Kids Cancer Alliance here in Kentucky. A little bit about what we normally do when everything's normal. We have a couple different in-hospital programs that we do that take up quite a bit of our time. We do a meal program and a photography program with Flashes of Hope. We cannot do those at the moment, which has been an issue, but we're working our way around doing those. And this past weekend, or I guess it was last weekend, we would have had our family retreat, which is a big time for all of our families to get together, to have that bonding time, take some stress away, reunite with other parents, unite with their friends, campers, see the other campers. It's been a good introduction point for new families into our program to get to know some of us and kind of what we do. The slides went away. I guess they'll pop back up. So we couldn't do our family treat, so we did the whole camp in a box virtual programming kind of thing. Our goal with this was to bring as much of our goal to the weekend as we could, which is to take stress away from families, give them some family quality time together, and that bonding. You can go to the next slide there, Aston, I believe. Yeah, so there you can see the boxes we put together. The boxes were a little bit bigger than we needed because we got the stuff and then the boxes, so we didn't quite think that through. So I might suggest getting your box first so you know what space you have. There's a little bit of extra space in those, but each one got that black bucket that was full of all the movie snacks kind of stuff. You go to the next slide. Also, I think I have it listed out what they got. Yeah, so movie snacks for a movie night. As you can see, we had space for an entire extra child in the box who was really excited and jumped in there. But movie snacks, there was a slime kit for the families to do, one of those concrete stepping stone crafts, some bubbles, sidewalk chalk, random fun. The grill was a cool addition because the families always enjoy making s'mores. I knew not all of them would be able to do that. So we thought up the grill idea to make that a possibility for them. For providing meals for them, which is a huge stressor for most families, is feeding everybody. On top of everything else, we did DoorDash in areas where we knew they had DoorDash. We did gift cards for those who we thought might not have DoorDash as an option. And we did a Redbox gift card / kind of code so we could print it off and give it to them to get a movie or two for free out of a Redbox machine, because we always have a movie night during family treat that the parents and the kids always enjoy. We also did a drum making program and a drum circle for our closing. So the black bucket also doubled as their drum. It also had the drumsticks and the tape and the stuff they needed for that. And there's some additional instructions on the video for that. You can go to the next slide now. So what we did, we had our Friday night was our welcome and campfire, which is a live Zoom campfire, which was completely new to me and weird at first, but we got into it pretty quick. And much like camp, be prepared for everything to go sideways the day of. Not sure if y'all are aware, but everything is crazy right now, and there was actually a protest group meeting right behind our office when this was supposed to happen, so we had to scramble to find a new location. So we found one that worked out really well. It really helped me with the campfire of having people sing the repeat after me part of the song so that I knew when to do the next part. It was a little weird not being able to see everybody. So keep that in mind if you do a live campfire. Saturday, we did a craft time. We had that already memorized, or a video recorded. We did a drum building live session, which was really good, and the drum circle was live. We had a live parent session. Not many came to, but the ones who did had a good time connecting to each other. And then we had a pre-recorded movie time kind of intro for the families. Then they went to bed at some point. And then Sunday morning, we had a drum circle and closing ceremony, similar to what we do at the retreat itself. Okay, now we can go on to the next one. Some things we learned. When we first started packing the boxes, we started to kind of customize for each family. So if we knew they had 2 younger boys or an older boy and younger boy, we tried to throw some extra stuff in there. And we realized after I think about 4 boxes, that was taking way too much time and slowing us down. So we scrapped that idea and just gave them the normal stuff. UPS was a little bit easier to work with than the post office. We realized we could give them a list and they could type up as we were bringing boxes to them instead of the post office doing 5 at a time. Is a bit slower. Cost was about the same. It was between 32 and 35 per box to send those, except for one random box that was 70 that needed to go to a PO box. Don't quite get that one, but we just went with it. Like I said, having a person do the repeat after me part of the song helped a lot. When we did the drum circle, we actually hooked my laptop up to TV in our office, in our conference room, so that Brett, who's leading it, could see what the kids were doing and the families, so it was more interactive. And then it helped give instructions, the timing, and all that stuff. We also let the kids lead some of that, so doing the making them the spotlight video, let them be the key focus. So we're doing like a call and response for the drum circle. That worked really well. Also, I really think that these families will love just pretty much anything we can do for them. I'm sure all y'all's families the same as ours. They love you. They love what you do. Everything's great. So anything we can give them will be awesome. And using the Zoom cloud to save our videos recorded and then put on YouTube later was pretty quick and easy for getting the families who couldn't make the sessions to see them later and to go back and view them. Down at the bottom, I have a link that I'm sure Austin can throw up in the chat later. I can get in there if you need to. If you want to see our videos, kind of what we did, they're all there for the whole weekend.
Next slide. So just a quick overview of us. We are a program, we run programs for kids with cancer and their siblings, and we actually, and similarly treated disorders. I would say about 95% of our campers actually are either cancer patients or siblings of cancer patients. So the predominant group is cancer. We serve the Intermountain area, kids that are treated at Primary Children's, that's located in Utah. So we do have some kids that come from Nevada, Idaho, Wyoming. We also get kids from the Four Corners area, Colorado, and even out to Montana. So we have a wide catchment area. Our summer camp sessions that we normally offer, we divide by camper age. We have a 2-day session that we call Day Camp Hobé Juniors. That's for ages 4 to 6. And that's a 2-day session. It's kind of a hybrid. They can come as day campers both days, or once they get to be 6 years old, they can do 1 night overnight. And that sort of lets them transition into being overnight for the full week. Kids Week is our 5-day overnight for ages 7 to 11 years. And then Teen Week is a 5-day overnight for ages 12 to 19 years. And then the staff come in the day before the campers to set up and train and all that. And then the campers come in. So clearly, you know, our camp is in June. We actually start our sessions tomorrow. So we are just moving to the yellow phase, which means we can have gatherings of up to 50 people in some parts of the state, but not everywhere. We still have a lot of other restrictions in place because of COVID, and our daily case counts are still going up. So we knew a couple of months ago, Jamie, my medical director, and I knew that we probably weren't going to be able to offer camp in June. We both work in healthcare, and we've seen the writing on the wall for a while. Next slide, please. So we made the decision to go to virtual camp at the end of March. We're going to have interactive sessions on Zoom. They're going to be divided into the same age groups as our usual camp. And we will have both large group and small group activities with breakouts. We ended up with 170 campers registered total for this year. Last summer we had about 260. So that's about 2/3. I feel like that's pretty good for making a pivot to virtual camp and not nobody really knowing what that looks like. We're also going to do streaming campfires and performances on Facebook Live every evening. We're going to offer a family dinner night where we're buying meals from a local restaurant chain, and our families can go pick up the meals at several different central locations, and everybody can have the same dinner that night. They can send in photos and we can share videos so that we all kind of have dinner together, even though we're not together. And then the last component is Camp in a Box that had supplies and swag to go with our, supplies with camp activities, and then swag, camp t-shirt, all that kind of stuff. It's packaged in a cute pirate treasure box. Next slide. And just to the Camp in the Box, just quickly what we had in there, we're gonna go over the list of supplies a little bit. We're gonna go over, we had a letter to parents and campers that we sent out. And the letter kind of just let the parents know what to expect in the camp box. It also kind of said some guidance about, here are the things your kid can start playing with as soon as they get the box. Here are the things they need to save for when we start doing camp activities. We actually mailed that letter to each individual camper the week before camp, so they would get something in the mail, and it was addressed to them and signed and all that cute stuff. And then we did a delivery of the boxes. We had a parade, a caravan to campers within reasonable driving range, and we mailed it to the others. So we'll go into more detail as we go through this. Next slide. And I'm going to turn it over to Jamie.
Hello, thank you, Chris. So as we kind of mentioned, we had a variety of supplies for everybody. Some of the stuff that they got the same, and then some of it was a little bit different. So each family got, instead of our traditional spirit stick that we sign at camp and then burn during camp, save part and carry over for the next year to carry campers with us year to year, we sent them a spirit stick ribbon, so flat piece of ribbon that was wide enough they could all write their names on and send back to us, so the return envelope as well. That way we could continue the tradition. We're just going to do it a little bit differently than we have in the past. And any additional t-shirts that they order, the camp t-shirts. And then we also included a handwritten thank you note that we had several of the volunteers sign during assembly day. Next slide. The items that everybody got, regardless of which session they were doing, were the ones that were listed here. So camp t-shirt, variety of different swag items that were that had the camp logo on them or fit our theme, which this year is a pirate theme, sailing the virtual seas. And then our remembering program supplies, a token for that we give out normally each year. And just, we modified it for this year to be able to send out some chocolate. Those were only for the ones that got delivered because it turns out those melt, so we didn't send it in the actual mailing delivery, but we did send the s'mores kit. So hopefully some of the chocolate actually made it across the journey there. So you can kind of see a list of the items, and we'll show a picture in the breakouts. Next slide. Okay, Chris, go ahead.
Oh, this is me. So we made a plan for a box assembly day, and we did it a little differently from Spot's group. We didn't try to individualize it. Per camper, we individualized it by session. So we had a box assembly day, and that was one of the 2 or 3 in-person volunteer activities that we've been able to have. In moving to virtual, we have a few staff that aren't super techy, or I've got a couple that just don't feel comfortable with computers, so they prefer to do the in-person things. We scheduled a day to do the box assembly, and that was 2 weeks before our camp season opened. They actually came over to my house. We spread out on the driveway so that our stations were 6 feet apart, and all of that. We had volunteer groups that we limited to no more than 20 people at a time in 2-hour shifts. And we did other COVID-19 safety precautions, masks,
temperatures.
Gloves. Yeah, temperature checks. Sorry, Jamie. And then the night before delivery, we had about 8 volunteers come over to do final prep, because it turned out that we had to have all our camp supplies ready a lot earlier before camp than normal, because we were going to do this delivery and mailing. We had planned that to be 2 hours, but it actually took us 4 hours to get everything together. We don't set up assembly lines very, very often. Next slide. And back to you, Jamie.
Thanks. So we decided to deliver our pirate treasure boxes a week before our camp season opened. So we delivered them last Saturday, and we begin camp tomorrow. We were able to, we mapped out, so we covered a very, very wide area, actually from northern Utah, Logan, clear down to almost middle Utah, near a place called Payson. So if we had had just one group, it would have been a few hours worth of driving, like from top to bottom. So we broke it down into 4 different teams, and we were able to get Routific to provide their app for free for our use for delivery. So we were able to map out the most efficient, safest route. And within the app itself, we were also able to include the camper's name, their address, and then it would give you directions to the next stop. And we were able to include their names, which boxes they needed. So on the back of each box was a color-coded sticker, one for day camp, one for kids week, one for teen week, so that you would get there and you would know they need 2 teen week boxes, a day camp box, and you would pull those matching boxes out and deliver them. We had 4 groups of caravans. We told the families ahead of time about, I think I want to say a week or 2 before, to let us know if they had moved, if their addresses in our database were correct, or if they would be out of town that day, so we could make a different plan and didn't send our caravan to an empty house, which actually worked out pretty well. I think we had maybe 1 or 2 families that did not get us the memo that either they weren't there, their address had changed, but otherwise with a lot of families we were able to meet the goal. And then a few days before, once we had confirmed who all was going to be delivered to, we sent the families approximate time of arrival so that they could plan the rest of their Saturday, but still have their kids be home when we were showing up with the parade of people and the boxes. So it was pretty fun. We started at 8 a.m. Chris?
Oh, sorry. We want to address Dina's question as well.
Great. What was that?
So Dina had asked about how we got permission from the families, or if we gave families an option to opt out. We actually sent out, when we first started planning the virtual camp, we gave the families a list of, these are the components that we're going to do. We're going to have this camp in a box and we'll figure out a way to deliver it to you. So we did a lot of communication there. I feel like when Jamie sent out the email letting them know how the delivery was going to work, we didn't specifically say, well, we said if you need it mailed, let us know. So we kind of, well, we didn't say give us permission, yes or no. They did have that option to opt out at that time.
And we did have some families that were worried about having the parade come to their house. And so when we clarified for them the kind of the steps we had done for infection control, as far as, the part of the reason we packed the box as early as we did was to ensure that everything had time to be wiped down and then sit without anyone touching it for a period of time, when they knew that we were taking temperatures and doing all of the other precautions to make sure that there was really as little risk as possible for any exposures. Then even the families that were a little bit nervous, which there was only 1 or 2, were really pretty excited to have us come. But yeah, a few families did ask us to go ahead and mail it. So I think we by default kind of got their permission.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You were at
so
the
at 8
day.
Exactly. So at 8 a.m. we all gathered at 4 different points, depending on whether you're northern to middle Utah, and decorated our cars. We wore pirate costumes. If they wanted to, they didn't have to. And we spent some time just really kind of making sure that it was a lot of fun. We made a playlist the week before of camp music, so that as we rolled up to the camper's house, we had the music blaring. And you could sing along with, the most popular request was, of course, Baby Shark, but we would get to the camper's house and run up to the door, drop the box, ring the doorbell, run away, and then stand on the street and cheer and sing and ask them what song they wanted us to perform. And I would say most of them asked for Baby Shark. So by the end of the day, be ready to have that song in your head. It's not a lot different than what you expect at camp. So next slide, thank you. So here's a picture of our group delivering to 2 of the kiddos. And it was just, as you can see, everybody got their masks on. We're having a great time. It was really, really fun. Next slide. I think that might be, here we go. So box delivery day, just so people know what our precautions were. We did do the temperature check with the no-touch thermometer. We had 1 person doing that, just as an FYI. Consistency helps with the use of those to make sure that you get an accurate read. We had everybody wear masks and gloves, or use hand sanitizer. Everybody had hand sanitizer with them, so they could use that as well. And the morning of, we sent out a mass text to the people that were volunteering that if you had any symptoms or signs that you're not feeling well at all, to call us ahead of time, let us know that you're not going to be able to make it, but to not come with any symptoms. I mentioned how we kind of delivered to the front porch, saying we did take socially distanced pictures, which was great. We had the families stand closer up to the house. We stood out on the street. We took pictures, they took pictures, and asked them to send any pictures they felt like sharing with us to the main camp email. So we were able to share those on social media and let everybody see kind of the celebration that happened all day kicking off camp. We were able to finish, it was 129 campers and around 50 family deliveries. We started at 8 a.m., decorated the cars, and got done by about 1 to 2 p.m., depending on which area you were in. We did gather for lunch, treated our volunteers to lunch that day, and celebrated the fun time that we had. So next slide. And there is one of the pictures we got back, which I think shows that they had a pretty good time there. Okay, next slide. Okay, so we did have about 30 kids that we had to mail to afterwards. And so Chris and I gathered the assembly day that originally happened. We also just had red bags that we dropped everything into. So the bags themselves were essentially prepped. Chris and I got together and just stuffed envelopes, sealed them up, made sure that everything was kind of in the packages that needed to be sealed and then mailed off. And then Chris took those to post office. She can tell you a little bit more about her involvement there, and got them, everybody, their stuff before camp began. It was a pretty good time, went pretty slick, and yeah, I think that's about all. I think you're right, Spot, about the customizing every box. So we did have, craft items and kind of items for each session, day camp, teen week, and kids week, but we didn't, anything that we had to customize as far as t-shirts, we did in a family bag. So they got the pirate box and a pirate bag, and the backpack, it was a little pirate backpack that had things that, one per family type of items, or things where we had multiple t-shirts that had to be customized to that family. And then we labeled the outside of those backpacks with the family names, camper names, and a number of participants.
Mm-hmm. I would say too, mailing wise, with the ones that we mailed, it was probably like $300 or $400 for all of them, but I mixed it in. I was doing some deliveries of things to staff at the same time. So I would say the camper part of it was probably $400. Most of them, we didn't do, when we mailed them, we didn't mail them in boxes. We mailed them in the soft-sided, like the flexible plastic stuff when you order something from Costco. We mailed them in those, and most of them were like around $10 to mail. There were a couple that went to North Carolina, and those were 20 each. So just to give you a range on that.
Yeah, and then follow up, we did do an email following up just saying, hey, this was our first attempt at an assembly line, really, and camp in a box delivery. So if you missed anything, let us know, and we did give them a list of what was included. And even with that, we had just a couple reach out saying they missed a few small items, but overall it was a pretty big success. Okay, next slide. I think we are done. Oh, there we are, getting ready to go.
There you are.
There I am. I was a pirate. What are you talking about? It's not me. Okay, questions?
Or I guess that's for the breakouts.
Okay.
We included the photos and stuff. We figured that we could send this with the rest of the presentation because we knew we just had 10 minutes, but it's got some of the letters and things we gave to the parents and the list of what's in the packets. And I think it's Susan's turn now.
And we'll get this out, the entire presentation out in a PDF. It's just a really large file, so I couldn't upload it in the chat box, but we will have it posted on the Outside the Box website. And let me forward ahead. So as you can see, they did include a lot of information that will be helpful, even the letters that they sent out. So we will get to that to y'all shortly.
Quality since February and 2 weeks into my tenure, the pandemic started to come into focus. I have been in nonprofit my whole career. I've served as a camp director. I worked with the Girl Scouts and the YMCA. And so I felt really fortunate to, not unlucky, to come into the organization at the time that I did, because I had some background that I could offer to Camp Quality in the midst of the looming reality in February that we would need to be canceling camp. Next slide. So Camp Quality, for people that don't know, we run 1 week camps in 18 locations. We run some teen camps and some sibling camps as well. We have been an organization for just over 30 years. And so you will learn, as we sort of pivoted into this new program, how that really helped us to pivot in what we hope will be an impactful way this summer. We renamed our resident overnight camp program that we unfortunately could not gather and do our Camp In program. And just in case I forget to sort of say this, I'm not good at designing and writing to one and done kind of programs. And so this program will be used not in this mega pilot that we're doing this summer, but it will be used in future years to serve kids who are hospital bound or for some reason cannot attend resident camp. This will be our model moving forward to serve those kids. Next slide. So you can see that we first kind of walked through the camp box concept. I've been writing curriculum for about 20 years, and so I kind of wanted to put some meat on the bones of what was being talked about as a camp box, because I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could center a curriculum or having a learning component to it. So we gathered a program team from across our organization. They represented all areas geographically from our organization, and we took 4 weeks to write a summer curriculum for 4 levels, and this is what we came up with. I had themed the program and kind of laid out the summary. Our theme for this summer will be Outrageous Courageous, and again, the pretty pivotal change for our organization is that Camp Quality has never had a central curriculum theme or a central theme for their camp. But we thought to sort of join us all together, this would be a good exercise in trying that on as an organization. So the themes that sort of came to be as we sort of looked at Outrageous Courageous, the theme, you can say that the K-3 and the upper elementary, junior, and senior high themes are a little bit different, but basically the themes are around courage, kindness, being powerful, persevering, and overcoming obstacles, which are virtues that we have lifted up in our program for over 30 years. When you're working with kids who have been through or affected by cancer, these are things that are good to reinforce and to talk about. Next slide. So this, I'll give you a sample of the actual program card, but this is what the program card pack contained. So we wrote to 4 program levels again. There were 7 program cards in each set. And on the title card, on the flip side, we had rainy day nature activities for those kids that don't have easy access to the out of doors. There were 5 themed days, which I just kind of went over. And we have a musical mindfulness card that is included with that. And we have included in the program packs a kazoo to go through that. So let's go to the next slide so you can kind of visually see what those program cards look like. So you're seeing the front and the back of the card. To picture the size of the card, if you are familiar with the marketing term of a rack card, these are both basically 4x9 sized cards, so they fit easily into a backpack. And they were written in 4 components. The first component is just the concept, the unpacking of the concept. And in this case, it's courage. Courage is what is inside us, and bravery is what we do. We have a journaling activity for each age level, and so journals are included in the packs. We have a creative exploration that's based in the theme, and all the supplies for each creative activity were included in the age level backpack. So we customized those to the 4 age levels. And each day there's a nature immersion. And I sort of worked with our writers to not so much to do nature, but we're calling it nature immersion because I think it's really important, particularly with kids that are dealing with anxiety, perhaps pain, those kinds of things, to learn mindfulness practices. And so we centered our nature immersion on mindfulness practices. And so Anne, our particular writer for this group, wrote yoga poses to the tenets of the theme for that day that these K3 kids could practice. Next slide. So here's the expanded program summary on how the themes sort of spread out across the days. So you can see that there is a core theme for every day. There's a creative activity that was designed to go with that, and the nature immersion that I just talked about. Next slide. So the difference in our organization too is that we have camp directors and volunteers in each of the locations of our camps. And so we were able to solve the puzzle of how do we put a local spin, how do we add sort of camp tradition to these program packs that we're designing. So we knew that we had the program pack together with the program cards and all the accompanying activity materials, and worked with our local camp directors for them to develop what we were calling virtual roundups. And the virtual roundups are both live on Zoom and recorded sessions that will be available to each of the camp communities based on the daily themed concept, usually within 30 to 40 minutes in length. Creativity just abounds as we're getting more and more plans in. Some of our camps are in June, some are in July, some are in August, so they're in different phases of their planning. But I know one camp in Minnesota, in my region, is planning a camp in Outrageous Courageous Morning Show, where they're going to open up and introduce the theme for the day, connect kids to what's going on later in the day, and also then obviously they're connecting with the volunteers that they've seen at camp before, and having a feeling that they're more at camp than they would if we hadn't localized it. Other virtual activities are being planned in those local areas as well, and those range from virtual games, psychosocial activities. So some are having meditation groups. They're having reading groups around books where you can sort of share things, chat sessions, and enhanced journaling activities, just as an example. But we don't have time for me to name all the ones that I've heard of across the country in our organization. Next slide. So communication, because these virtual activities are happening locally, we needed to solve some communication issues. And so we created a communications task group and did two primary things. One was to redesign our website formats. So each of our local websites that connect to the Camp Quality USA website now have a Camp In web page where, of course, there's registration and all the things that you would expect, but there's also a platform for each of those local groups to easily add their daily schedules. And so you can kind of see, depending on the size of your screen, a daily schedule where they would add what's happening for what age group at what time and give the Zoom link or the upload link on that web page. Also, many of our camps are going to be sending daily emails out to sort of reinforce that, to make it easy for people to find where they're at. And we'll include a parent letter, of course, and a printed schedule, all in the backpacks as well. We also, as a part of that communication group, vetted preferred platforms for our organization to use. And those two platforms we decided to use were Zoom and Flipgrid, because Flipgrid had more camper interaction. And a lot of our traditions, campfires, like almost all of you I'm sure do, or talent shows, can be easily formatted to that Flipgrid